Hello, beautiful beings of light. I hope you all are well. Welcome to this galactic energy report for the month of September. The fall of the lac matrix has begun. Amongst the chaos, the new earth rises. Yes, you heard it. This is going to be a momentous month, to be sure. So, in part one, if you guys checked out that video that I did, understanding the harvest is a weaving, we kind of recapped what is transpiring on the world stage, and more specifically, how the harvest or the weaving is what my team in spirit calls it, is transpiring on an energetic level. And one thing I want to reiterate, and it's not to get too bogged down by the whole rabbit hole of service to self, dense energies, divergent timeline, beings, etc. I have really wavered as to when to bring out this information, because a lot of times we can kind of get sucked down this rabbit hole and get really kind of obsessive with our focus and attention on it. And that is not my intention in doing this. It's just to get a clear understanding of what's happening with the harvest and how energetically, from a galactic vantage point, it looks. But we need to keep in perspective the fact that without the dark, we wouldn't be pushed further into the light, at least in this dimension. Obviously, as we move higher into dimensional templating, these dual paradigms begin to fall away. But the fourth dimension that we are moving into is still dualistic in nature. It moves from this tangible, matter-driven, third-dimensional template to a psychological, a mental, and a etheric-driven dualism. So like the overt good, bad, right, wrong type of templating is replaced with subtle, more like covert forms of that same dual template, and manipulation as well. So we're absolutely seeing this right now with the narratives that are playing out in media and technology. So this isn't going to go away. What needs to happen is a turning away from it. It's moving into our sovereignty, into our discernment. It's beginning to place our energy in the spaces and places that are higher in vibration, and not to feed into the pendulum energy, and not support the system by either participating or fighting within it. And so that was kind of the crux of what this first video I put out about the harvest was. It was to give you this clear understanding and this clear picture so you could see it for what it is. And although I discussed this desire by service to self, or as my team calls it, the persuasion of percussion, to pull us back down into third dimensional templating, we are in the fourth dimension, okay? So, and they are actually using fourth dimensional templating to exact or execute this. So even they are aware that as they are pulling down and pulling, that it's pushing us up. So another way you can view all of what I went over in this first video, and if you haven't watched it, I will link it in the description below so you can get a better understanding. I used a dry erase board and kind of drew out so you could understand. But another way to view this is like a wound that is pushing up the infection, up and out of the body, or like a volcano that's erupting. Okay, so this is exactly what's happening with the leftover third dimensional template, or with the lac matrix, these fault lines that are very specific, okay, to the ley lines of the country, the city, the neighborhood, or community even, okay, are being pushed up and out into the light of day. And as I've stated in the last video, this goes all the way back to World War I. And obviously it was happening before that as well. I mean, this has been going on for eons, but this is where the timeline that we are on now went from more organic to more inorganic, okay? And so these unresolved wounds that are now asking for restoration, we can clearly see in the parallels to World War II, even in regards to sovereignty of the body, sovereignty of the self, free will. And then you have intermingled into all of this, the service to self agenda that is pushing further into the fourth dimensional template with transhumanism as a main focus. And like I said, this has always been going on. We were just blind to it before. And the funny thing is that the more and more blatant it becomes, the more humans are going to be waking up. So understanding that we are just being born into this age of Aquarius, into this age of the mind, into this renaissance, okay, into this template of original thought. And it's going to last for several thousand years, okay? So this is not an overnight process. But just as there are those pushing forward and constructing their plan on one end of the spectrum, there needs to be others that are pushing forward into the material world on the other end of the spectrum, on the light end of the spectrum. And that's where we come in. We are the ones who now will begin building this abundance matrix. Never forgetting that whatever is happening on the lowest end of the energy spectrum is happening equally on the highest, lightest end of the spectrum. We typically are just not tuning into a narrative that's all about joy and abundance, but hopefully we have begun that process. We've begun the process of, weeding out what's healthy for us to tune into and what isn't. And we've begun surrounding ourselves with more of the higher vibrating energies in our realities. And, if we can't find that love, it's important now that we become the love, that we become the narrative of love, of abundance, that we begin fighting this war of the words, not by fighting at all, but by building a beautiful abundance matrix. And that's really where these September energies come into play. When the energies all come together at the end of the month, we will be placing the building blocks of our foundations in the abundance matrix. This honestly is one of the most important transits we've seen yet, to date. And it's always amazing to me the way the planets or the logos are absolutely giving us the kind of proof of life that we need, that everything is working in divine order and according to a higher order, a higher plan. So today, as I'm recording this, either September 6th or September 7th, depending on where you're at, we have this new moon in Virgo. And remember, just because it's a new moon at a certain, date and time doesn't mean, new moon's over. We missed this window of this 1 minute and now it's done. No, this energy is going to be staying with us for the next 48 to 72 hours. And then we also have the sun in Virgo as well, lending this energy for constructing a now and a future, okay? With the moon as the past and the sun is our future. And with the new moon setting intention, it's further away. So it's not this strong energy. It's giving us this opportunity to really create a future that's more than just an idea or an exercise in the ether or in our imaginal acts, okay? We are bringing it down in a tangible way. This is a time of intention setting. It's the beginning of a cycle, and it is the first brick in the foundation of the abundance matrix. I'm so excited to explain to you how all of these transits are really leading us to this next 0 point energy. So Virgo represents the process of forming a conscious connection to the material world through routine, through ritual, service, and awareness of daily work that needs to be done, okay? It is like the physical aspect of human existence. So as these higher celestial energies that have been trickling down that I talked about from Sirius through the what was known as this Lionsgate portal, these higher self frequencies, these celestial light body DNA activation energies that are getting our physical bodies ready are now trickling down through the energy centers where it's a top-down process. So it begun in the higher above crown energy centers, and it's now working its way down through into the lower energy centers. So it is a great time with this Virgo energy. It's all aligning together, okay? Down in these lower 3 chakra centers to integrate the shadow elements within us, and every time we do that, we uncord a little bit more and a little bit more from these inorganic frequencies that have been holding us through these tethers and these loops of the moon. And we can begin cording into the abundance matrix and more of the organic frequencies. So we're recognizing now what is showing up in our realities from a lower density tether. So that's going to be, especially with this Virgo energy, what we're going to see with these tethers are fears, paranoia, derogatory self-talk, becoming obsessed with small details and nitpicking. There's a tendency to be overreacting emotionally. So we're going to be trying to find a balance between like outbursts and bottling up our emotion. So all of these tethers are working or what we're working on in this new moon energy to free ourselves from. Another big theme is going to be the tether of guilt and understanding our sovereignty and our free will, our others, okay? So again, with this new moon energy, it's all about intention setting. So it's an awesome time over the next 2 to 3 days to really work on those lower, those denser energy tethers, see what's coming up for you in your personal reality, and then working on freeing ourselves from that through intention setting, through just acknowledging, and through trying to clear up our lower 3 chakra energy centers. We can also do cord cutting ceremonies during this time. Extremely effective. I like to visualize like actual contracts or scripts and see myself tearing those things up. So again, this is a beautiful window in which we can begin doing that. So we can see that September energies are kicked off surrounding these ongoing themes of our bodies, our discernment of how we handle our health, our sovereignty, how we are navigating the lack matrix, and moreover, how can we concretely begin to build the foundation of our abundance matrix. We are taking the ideas that we have been gestating and giving birth to them in the material realm. We are ready to take action, and we are ready to sort out just how are we going to make this work from day to day in relationship to time management. And then working through these energies of Virgo in contrast with the energies of Pisces, which is more fluid and psychic, more etheric and intangible, we are able to take the formless and bring it into form when we arrive at the full moon in Pisces on September 20th. Okay, so it's in stark contrast. It's all about the form with this new moon, and then the formless with the full moon on September 20th. So it's a perfect balance by the way of ushering us into this Libra season, Libra being the scales and the sign of balance, then with the equinox on the 22nd, that also puts an exclamation point on this energy of balance. Okay, if that weren't big enough, then we have retrograde Mercury again in Libra on the 26th. Okay, so it is a really busy season. right now we have 6 retrogrades coming into play, then building into 7. So if you remember, anytime we have a retrograding planet, this is a huge time of transformation. It's a pause on the blueprint and a time of reinvention, a time of revision. So literally we have all of these outer planets that have slowed down and what appear to be going in a backwards motion. So they are pausing for us in their energy and allowing us to cut ties with the lack matrix and begin courting into the abundance matrix in a material way. We have Jupiter in retrograde until October 18th, Saturn in retrograde until October 11th, Uranus retrograde until January 1st of 2022, Neptune retrograde until December 1st, Pluto retrograde until October 6th, and Chiron retrograde until December 19th. Then on December 26th, we have Mercury going retrograde in Libra. So if you remember all the way back to the first time Mercury retrograded within our first 4th dimensional templating, I explained that in my communication with the grid of Mercury, that it is this angelic templating. It's angelic intervention. This is the winged messenger of the gods. And in the sign of Libra, it's slowing down and putting us into this slow-mo, bringing balance back to the planet in this sign of Libra through angelic intervention. But right before we hit this Mercury retrograde and this angelic divine intervention, we enter into the equinox. So, and yes, you know it, it is also in the sign of Libra. So now we have a 0-point energy. We have the autumnal equinox in the northern hemisphere, the vernal equinox in the southern hemisphere, and it is a 0-point energy. It is equal parts day and night in combination with the sign of Libra, which is the scales of balance, okay? So whereas on December 21st of 2020, we knocked on the door to the 4th dimension. On the equinox that we experienced earlier in the year, we reached the 0 point of the 4th dimension. We opened the door, okay? And now with this equinox on September 22nd of 2021, we have blown through the door. It is wide open, and we are now laying the brick of the foundation of the 4th dimension. Okay, there is no going back. This is now gone from an exercise in the etheric, in contemplation, in imagination, to it has now been brought down into the material realm. We are laying the foundation. There is no going back. Okay, this isn't just a portal that's open. This isn't just an idea. This isn't just abilities that are coming online that we have the ability to tap into. No, this is it, and it's in the material realm. It is supported by the sign of Libra. It will be further supported by higher dimensional energies coming through a retrograded Mercury, again in the sign of Libra, in balance, in conjunction with 6 other retrograding planets, all slowing down in the blueprint, allowing us to cut the last remnants away of the lack matrix. It is beginning to crumble. If you remember my first video where I showed you this 3rd dimensional template and how it's shrinking and the 4th dimensional template is growing, this is where we actually make some real concrete headway. And all of the celestial bodies, the logos, it is all there to aid and assist this process. It is exciting. It may not feel exciting as we're going through it because it is going to be a lot of chaos, a lot of upheaval, a lot happening on the world stage and in our personal lives. It is going to rock our worlds. Whatever is left is going to be gone by the end of this cycle. It is this time now where the heavens have literally slowed down to, what appears in the sky in an almost backwards motion, okay? And it is giving us this opportunity to revise, to reinvent, to reorient ourselves to a whole new dimension. And it is going to bring with it, okay, a ushering out of anything that is no longer serving. And really, at this point in time, it is when we begin to understand that these parallel dimensions, these parallel universes are not just so much in flux. We're going to see this split, okay? So it's an exciting time. It's amazing when you put all these pieces together and you, like I said earlier, you really can see the way that everything is divinely orchestrated and how it's all coming together to support us in our expansion, to support us in our restoration, to support us in our reinvention and the beginning of original thought of this brand new world that we are stepping into. And it's exciting. It really is. I know that from in day-to-day life and what we're seeing and the story that's being played out on the world stage, it doesn't feel like that's what's happening, but that's only because we are not hearing that as our, day-to-day narrative that's being played. But do not for one moment think that this is not happening and we are not moving in the right direction. Our bricks are being laid in the foundations. This is tangible. This is real. And it is all happening for our growth and our expansion and the evolution of the human species. So I really hope that helps someone out there. I am so excited about this month of September and this new 0 point energy and the way that the all of the logos are really supporting that. So as long as we stay on track, as long as we stay focused on the abundance matrix, we stay focused on cutting cords, on integrating our shadow sides, on scripting, on the abundance matrix. This is our time to build. This is our time to begin to really bring this down into the material realm. So as long as we stay on track, we're going to arrive right on time, on divine time. Okay, so I'm sending you all big love. Bye.
Just wanted to say I love ya. Sally loves ya. Bye.